crucial soldier at a very important and crucial moment.
And analyze everything. So let's wait until all that comes out.
Can I assure you that I did not conduct the elections? I competed with them in this race to win the elections, and I'm happy that I have won the race.
And I got this from very reliable quarters. Emerson didn't want elections. If also because he knew to be messy. And I think also knew that he's unelectable. And he sent out emissaries to Shamisa in March on there.
And what is keeping you going? Why would you say that for you it is important to contest this decision and simply not put it to bed?
No. We have to fight all the way. It's game on. There's no going back. We will pursue every legal avenue and channel until the elections are held in a manner that is satisfactory to each and every one of us as Zimbabweans. We will not give in to these intimidatory tactics by Nangagwa. Let us.
You want the goblin to go? He's a goblin.
And Mugabe was serving his last term. Mugabe was 6 months away from saying goodbye. And everybody in the party knew that.
For this nation, we must pray for those who are in leadership in the fortresses. I saw them congregated at a certain place, crying. I've seen the vision 2 times.
We need a restoration of the value of our salaries to the pre-October 2018 position where the lowest paid civil servant was earning $475.
Imagine you can't even pay for the school fees of your own children for this, the institution that you are teaching, which is just a mockery. So
the challenge Zimbabwe now faces is the gold mafia.
I do 200 kilos a week. That's what we do, buy and sell.
Macmillan and his rival gold dealer Patney work for the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the country's central bank.
There is a Gold Act in Zimbabwe, which makes the central bank
the case. Mnangagwa's new cabinet says otherwise. He's appointed his son and nephew to key government posts. His critics have raised the alarm. The opposition have accused him of nepotism, of planning to bring family rule Zimbabweanism back to the country.
It is clear that we are rejecting the election as a sham, the result. The process itself is disregarded and is in line with what the SADC observers have said. Mr. Mnangagwa knows that he has performed a coup since 2008, a coup on the ballot, 2017, a coup on the elected leader, 2018, a coup on the ballot. He has repeated again, 2023, a coup on the ballot. You can't survive this for far too many times. This time, no further. We've drawn a line in the sand. We will not allow you to abuse people. There's going to be change in Zimbabwe. Whether ZANU-PF people want it or not, it's not going to be easy, but there shall be change. We will not wait for 5 years. There has to be change now. And we are going to lead in making sure that change comes to Zimbabwe. We put a full stop to this.
For what? For what?
I spoke before the elections in 2018 and I said, after this process has been done of the elections in 2018, Because the elections, they won't change anything. That's what I said in 2018. Like I was speaking here, saying court has remembered Zimbabwe. I was trying to tell you that things will not change. They will just remain the same. And that you should not be hurt psychologically or in your heart. So I told you at the time that a window will be opened. Do you remember? I said a window will be opened so that the equal can come along. So we will call this brother the equal. So very soon, when the emotions are still heated like this, a window will be opened with the pressure from outside. A window will be opened once more so that the lessons that the equal was supposed to learn, how the systems work in this nation, the equal will be able to learn. Because in a nation like this, since it is a kingdom, you can't come in as a rank outside.
This is what I see in the spirit. Okay? This is what I see. In the spirit, I see a river. Okay? I see a river with a mighty current. I see a river with a mighty current. And I see a man. The condition to cross over this river was that you should pick a key. I hear a key in the spirit. Okay? You collect a key. And this key that you collect is going to enable you to cross the river. Okay? So whichever candidate comes to pick the key is the one who is supposed to cross this river. And this river has a mighty current. It has mighty current. Okay? And I began to see by the eye of the spirit. I saw a gold key. I saw a man putting his hand into the river. Okay? And I saw crocodiles trying to bite him. And the angel of the Lord looked at me in the vision and said, Israel, look. So I went under the water and I began to see how the crocodiles were biting me. And this is what I heard. On one crocodile was written accusations. Okay? I began to see that one crocodile represented accusations. Okay? Another crocodile represented delay. Okay? Another crocodile represented unhappiness. And they tore off this man's flesh. Okay? They pulled the flesh off his skin. They pulled the flesh off his skin. They pulled the flesh off his skin. But the man never seemed fazed. He kept on putting his hand deeper to where this treasure chest was at the bottom of the river, where this key was. Okay? And the treasure chest opened. By the time he was putting his hand deep into the treasure chest to pick the key, I only saw bones. His flesh had been torn off. Okay? And when he picked the key turned into what I can describe as a torch. You know, a torch, those things which are at the Olympic Games that have fire on them. Yes. It turned into a torch. And he lifted the torch high, and the river split for him. Okay? As the river split for this man, he crossed. And I heard noise, like rumblings. Okay? I heard noise in the spirit, like rumblings. And it seemed like the angels were satisfied with the happenings.
We are witnessing the beginning of a new and
is our total victory at the election.
Looking back a few months ago, and I got this from very reliable quarters, Emerson didn't want elections. If also because he knew to be messy. And I think also knew that he's unelectable. Absolutely. And he sent out emissaries to Shamisa in March on there. So let's postpone the elections for 2 years. Let's have a government of national unity. And in 2 years, I hand over. I'm going. I asked my informant who were the emissaries, and they named them. People in Emerson's cabinet, the inner core. I went further, I wanted to know what was the rationale behind the argument for this postponement, GNU. And the response was that the military were too involved in elections. And the one way of putting paid to that was to have this. Well, I didn't want to pursue the discussion, but I sort of understood that the military was meant Chwenga, you know. Yeah. But later on I realized Fez. All this, remember, many of Emerson's inner core lost in the primaries because of Fez. But this was a conversation a few days before Sharumbira's disastrous
Karanga deal.
Yeah, Karanga deal. And there was clearly a relationship between the offer being made surreptitiously, so to speak, to Shamisa and the Karanga deal. Now, well, I know reliably that Shamisa refused the deal.
Okay.
If also because he believed he would win the election anyway, you know. But I mention this because I think that I would not be surprised if Emerson throws up the idea of a GNU now to preempt the SADC action, whatever it might be. And in keeping with it's all indication that he wants to live. From our own records, he was born 1938, he's 85 next week, the 12th of September. So he's young.
I've heard 2025 mentioned a number of times.
Yeah, for other different reasons.
Yeah.
But I think mainly, I think that you're trying to avoid the Mugabe fiasco, where you overstay. But also, he's been battered. This has been a difficult time for him.
But this doesn't help in any way. This sticky situation where we are doesn't help him in any way.
Well, this is where the SADC heads of state have to put their heads together on the strength of all this information and indeed what he might have told them. And one of the things that has been worrying him is his failure to get the military back to the barracks. It has been a major problem for him. So by all accounts, the men must be very tired, you know, and so I have reason to believe he wants to use the next 2 years as transition exit. He has to get out peacefully. Yeah? There are too many imponderables.
Former Zimbabwean Minister Sevia Kasukuwere from standing in next month's presidential election. A ZANU-PF sympathizer had filed a case challenging a decision by the nomination court to approve his candidature. The SABC has learned that Kasukuwere will take the matter for appeal at the Supreme Court or the Constitutional Court. Now, the former minister joins us live now, and he says, of course, despite this, he is going to be soldiering on this after the High Court in Zimbabwe barred him from contesting the presidential elections in the country scheduled next month. Let's now get into conversation with him. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. Let's start with your initial reaction, because I do understand that this matter is now likely to be in the courts.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Ronnie. This is a matter that we've since filed not a judgment, and we have also filed an appeal against the judgment by the High Court this afternoon, this morning actually.
And what is keeping you going? Why would you say that for you it is important to contest this decision and simply not put it to bed?
No. We have to fight all the way. It's game on. There's no going back. We will pursue every legal avenue and channel until the elections are held in a manner that is satisfactory to each and every one of us as Zimbabweans. We will not give in to these intimidatory tactics by Mnangagwa, let alone all these attempts to try and pass. Why is he scared? Why would you stop another fellow Zimbabwean from contesting if you know that you have support? This is a democracy. We must put it to the strictest test and ensure that at the end of the day we have a result that reflects the popular will of our people. So no, he's not going to get away with it. Not a chance. We're not going to allow that to happen. So we will contest. I'm still on the ballot, and from tomorrow, once we've noted the appeal, and once they've noted it as well, that's it.
So I'm keen to find out then your thoughts on something before we get into campaigning and how you then will be able to rally the troops in this regard. But the bone of contention here is that the commission which sat, and I'm borrowing from the papers, which sat as the nomination court on 21st of June 2023, acted in error when it accepted Kasukuwere's nomination paper for election to the office of the President of Zimbabwe in the election which shall be held on 23 August. He insists that Kasukuwere, whom he claims was out of Zimbabwe for more than 18 consecutive months, is, in terms of Section 23(3) of the Act, no longer a registered voter. He claims that as a person who ceased to be a registered voter, Kasukuwere cannot vote in the forthcoming election, and because he cannot vote, of course, that continues there.
Welcome back to Talking Point. I'm still in conversation with Mr. Xavier Kasukuwere. Mr. Kasukuwere, let's go to November 2017. Day that changed, obviously, the entire history of the last 6 years of Zimbabwe, because we are approaching, 6 years of the tenure of Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa. You say you obviously had survived the assassination attempt. Many of your former colleagues of the ZANU-PF are in exile in different parts of the world, so you've been here in South Africa. Mr. Kasukuwere, when that happened, Mnangagwa is, of course, ZANU-PF, like, of course, you were, and he's a former comrade, as they would say. Did Zimbabwe know what they were unleashing at the time with regards to the current government that is there? Because obviously there was celebrations in some parts of Zimbabwe. The international observers are looking and saying, well, there is the end of the long-standing tenure of Mr. Robert Mugabe. But did Zimbabwe know what was actually going to be happening when that day occurred?
Let me start off by my fidelity to the Constitution.
Yes.
The Constitution of our country is very clear. And Mugabe was serving his last term. Mugabe was 6 months away from saying goodbye. And everybody in the party knew that. Okay? Physically, he was no longer able to move forward. We take that point, put it here.
Yes.
Now talk of this revolution. Was it a revolution, so-called, grounded on an ideological, political, legal, social base, or it was an egocentric trip? And this is where this conundrum becomes even more exciting. You have the West hailing the removal of Mugabe. The British administration, Katrina Long, are the co-sponsors of this thing, of the removal of Mugabe, because it suited British interests for Robert Mugabe to be humiliated. Now here's a guy who has fought for years to undermine imperial forces, take back his land, all those things.